Welcome to INACSL 23. We're going to be having a panel discussion today with some committee members and leaders from INACSL. My name's Teresa Gore, and I'm a content manager for HealthySim.com, and I am also a past president of INACSL, so this organization is very near and dear to my heart. So with me today, I have Lori Persico, all right, and she is with the Standards Committee. I have Tagwa Omar, yeah, and she's with the International Committee. And I have Denise Campbell, and she's with the Research Committee. So this is going to be our focus tonight as we have this discussion on what these benefits from these different committees bring for our members. As we've heard, there are over 2,200 members for INACSL, and at this conference we now have over 1,000 registered participants. So yes, it is going great, and so I would like to start with you with the standards. All right, so Lori, if you can tell us a little bit about the standards, where they started, where you are now, and just why we need these.
So there was a need to incorporate simulation-based education into the teaching of healthcare professionals and beyond that. And over a decade ago, it was identified that we needed a framework of best practices. So as these standards have evolved, it's now a living document. And we have developed its new iteration of the healthcare standards, simulation standards of best practice. So people understand it's not just for nursing, it's for everyone, it's all inclusive. And you can download the standards from the INACSL website, the articles for free, and also simographs that you can hang in your simulation lab as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we'll get back to more of the standards. I want us to get started with everyone. All right, Tagwa, can you tell us what has INACSL done for you internationally, and what can international members do for INACSL?
Thank you for the question. And actually, it brings a lot. And the International Affairs Committee is unbelievably beneficial for everyone. It sustains a community of practice of INACSL with the different culture, different background, different resource. Even when it comes to discuss the INACSL best practice standard, the interpretation is different. The International Affairs Committee is around now 12 countries. It includes my country, Saudi Arabia. We have a member from China, from Brazil, from Turkey, from Korea, from Pakistan, from India, from North of America. We have from Canada. So all of those, they come together in a table, discuss how they apply simulation according to their background, culture. It's totally different. We benefit from each other. We discuss issues that similar and issues that is different. So it's bring richness to INACSL International Group, and how to implement each differently and similarly in different ways. And specifically now, each of the member is having regional interest group in their countries, so they bring back what is discussed in the table of the international committee to their interest group and their country. And this is really bring richness to every aspect of the implementation of simulation.
So I'm going to have a question for the two of you here. Are the INACSL standards of best practice, formerly known as that, now the healthcare simulation standards of best practice, are they available only in English?
They have been translated in different languages so that they're accessible to all different countries.
Even for the international committee, for example, in my country, the media of education in English, but we are translating it now in Arabic for people who do not speak English, because we want to bring the simulation outside the educational institution. So it's not just the colleges and the university, even in hospital and even in the community. So this is the aim of translation.
So that's wonderful. That's just I just love seeing the growth of this from where it started as a board of directors sitting in a room deciding which standards to even look at is to where it is now because there's been and I'm so glad it's a living document and we're always changing it. All right, so now to you, Andrea. So I would like for you to kind of talk with us about what's going on in research, what does the research committee do, and how can people get involved?
So the research committee is basically responsible for supporting the advancement of scholarship as well as providing some funding and promoting research among its users. We just finished Professor Rounds, which was very exciting. We actually had a couple people, we talked about international, that presented from Norway. They each had their own presentation, so that was two of them. And then I met with a group of people who are on this research committee this morning, and we actually have an international member from Saudi Arabia too, so we're very excited about that. They are going to be announcing the poster winners as well as the researcher of the year. So very exciting things. The applications for the Deborah Spunt grant are going to be opening shortly, and they are also going to be starting another round of our research fellows.
So, if anyone's not aware, Deborah Spunt was a co-founding president of INACSL and is on whose shoulders we're all standing. Her and Terry Basie started INACSL 20 years ago, as we now know. They started meeting before it came to actual the name. So I'm so glad to really see how this is growing and how we have all of this work. So how would someone if they've got a concern about a standard or they think that there needs to be a new standard developed, because each time, do we stick with just the same standards or do we get new standards?
Well, as simulation-based education evolves, we have to think about what's out there and does it need to be a new standard. So they can contact the standards committee, myself as the chair, and we can, go into the literature and see. So for example, virtual reality wasn't in existence really, right?
Right.
In 5 years ago. Or DEIB is, something that's to be considered or threaded throughout the standards. Right. So that's why the Standards Committee is wonderful in the sense that we have experts from around the world that volunteer their time to help us develop the standards.
So I'm going to go into, I would like for each one of you to talk to me, really as we're looking at looking forward, right? Imagining the future of simulation. We know that AI, artificial intelligence, is one of the hot topics, and those are things that people are starting to consider. So, do you see that AI could impact the standards? Could it impact the international committee and research? So, we'll start with research on the end this time.
Probably the easiest one to broach. We are seeing a lot of advancement in AI. It's very exciting. We're also seeing, from an academia perspective, students that are starting their journey in nursing have that background already. And so it's almost like a seamless transition to using AI in their training. And so as educators, simulationists, we need to be looking at how this is being done and how we can bring that to the students to meet them at their level to help them with their education as well as advancing simulation.
I think it definitely will affect. It's coming, it already came. The international community of simulation will affect them, and it will improve the implementation, and again it will improve the resources for each other. So we may have some of the communities or the countries have the more advanced knowledge and skill on AI, and the other are not. So bringing all of us together will help that, so we can share resources, and again we can share research and seeing how each community implement and interpret those practices differently, and that will help the development of simulation in education.
All right.
As far as the standards, AI comes in many different platforms and it's implemented and used as a teaching strategy in many different ways. the commonality must be utilization of the standards,
Yeah.
professional integrity, simulation design, how we, if you're going to use our artificial intelligence, is the criterion or those elements of pre-briefing preparation within that artificial intelligence that you're going to use? Because it might be more fiscally responsible to use artificial intelligence to introduce your students into the simulation environment.
Yeah. So I just see that once again we're looking and we're imagining the future. So I challenge everyone who's here or who's watching this to think about how you can grow simulation and what the future of your simulation and an Axle is going to look like in 5, 10, or more years. So thank you once again for attending, and thank you for sharing your experience with our members.
Thank
you
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.